It's a pleasure to have you guys. I have Farah Bushnaq and Lyne Ismail from End Small Talk. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Wow.
Look at us in unison.
Jinx, now you guys can't talk anymore. Khalas, guys, end of the show, please. It's done.
Done.
Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to get right into it. So your slogan says, movement towards better conversations. We have the same goals, by the way.
Cool.
Just to let you know. Can you foresee how this conversation is going to go?
Too much pressure now to have the best conversation.
Yeah,
There's
I know.
a lot of expectations.
You guys
now.
have a lot
From
of
both
pressure.
sides, yeah.
Okay. I have one question here. What kind of small talk do you guys actually hate? Can you each say like one example each?
Definitely like, oh, it's so hot today. It's like, oh yeah, it's really hot. It's like, oh man, like, okay,
The
we
weather.
all have
Yeah.
skin. We can feel, you know, we don't have to keep talking about how hot it is. And like, you know, so that for me is definitely a pet peeve of mine.
For me, it's work, but not like how is work, but basically like
Hi, وين عم تشتغلي؟ كيفك؟
Yes,
شغلك؟
yes.
صرتي بدبي? Like that?
exactly
Yeah.
those,
Yeah.
and especially when
You know who I'm talking about.
you see people that
That's you.
It's me, actually.
you like know, and you know, I'm sure there's much more we can talk about,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh really? And then you're back here where you're living with your parents. Great, cool, all right, bye. Like it's just sad because then I'm just like, no, there's more that we can discuss, but.
I was gonna say, saying that though, like I have become like I've done that, you know, and
We all have done that.
Yeah,
We all
and
do
I-
it.
I have done that.
I'm
Confession.
just gonna like lay
You
it
know?
all out, you know.
See, there's a difference between a hypocrite, right, and a difference between owning.
owning
Owning,
Right,
like
the
you do it, that's fine.
contradiction.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with owning the contradiction.
True.
Yeah.
So and I can see that because it's a safe space. Like small talk is like safe, you know. It's like, oh, if like you're a bit awkward or like anxious.
But
maybe
how
in
do
a
you feel when you
situation,
do it? Because when I do it, I feel like,
my soul is in my
Yes.
like, you know, out of my stomach.
and
you
I
know?
just that day is ruined. Like I'm like, this
That
did not
day's
just happen.
ruined.
The whole day is ruined
Yes.
from one.
Yes.
Okay, wow.
One elevator ride up.
Bit
and
extreme,
there's
but okay.
This is very, you know.
Then I
Yeah.
call in, like, please,
I
deep
feel,
conversation.
What do I do?
I feel empty. Like I don't feel too attached to the
Yes.
conversation.
I do feel exactly empty, and there is really this like twinge I feel in my stomach that's like, oh, you know, it's like that imposter syndrome kind of thing where
yeah.
it's like, here I am, we're like, you know, co-founders of End Small Talk, we promote deep conversations, and then here I am engaging in small talk, and like, whoa, you know. And so there were those moments of extra pressure that maybe I put on myself,
Yeah.
or we have this
Especially
like image
in the beginning.
Oh
like
my God,
we had
yeah.
people come up to us and just like sit and go like, okay, so
entertain
like,
us.
are you gonna have deep conversations with me? And I'm like, yeah, we do have other conversations too.
It's
It's
like
not
so much
like
pressure.
That's not how it works.
yeah, you don't come to us for this, but yeah, because anyways, we started this because it's not like we were experts at it. We just knew how we felt when these conversations happened. We wanted everyone else to feel it that way, but we're never gonna be like the deep conversation.
Because you
Like
guys
the
are
ones.
two different brains, and then did it stem from each of the same like experience that happened, and you guys were like, oh, we should do this?
Yeah, same exact experience we felt.
Yeah, we felt the same way for sure. And then it's just like circumstances around that, like we're just favoring putting on an event. It was actually, because Farah was working at the space at the time. And like, you know, she had the event space that she can book these things for. So it's quite easy. But it was actually a friend of ours that said, hey guys, like, because we kept talking about this, like, oh, we just want to have deep conversations. What if we had like an event that brought people together to have deep conversations? And we just like,
I want to ask about the process, but before that, so you guys ever have a difficult session or like a taboo topic?
oof. Yeah. So we do our best to like, we set some ground rules. We try to say that's something that's like a rule of End Small Talk. We don't discuss politics or religion, you know, and it's just, we don't want to, you know, upset anyone or like cause any bias of any way. Of course, there's some topics that can come up that maybe are taboo to talk about. And yeah, you can kind of feel this like maybe tension, you know, but it's never erupted into like a full blown, like, you know,
Table flipping.
arguments.
We just know we had like a very strong opinion.
Yeah.
It was like a feminist topic.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
there was someone who was just very, very opinionated on a subject. So she kind of started, you know, like screaming it out and being defensive. But it wasn't like a crazy thing that happened. It's just that some people, sometimes they just feel the need to like, you know, make sure their point is heard, and that's not what it's about. It's about no one's right or wrong in this situation. We're having a discussion. So some people forget that sometimes, but I don't think anything bad has happened.
No. But that time was probably the most. But what was interesting for us to see was that people, our regulars and other people, were actually disturbed more by this person that was very like strongly opinionated, because she was like targeting the guest speaker that we had. And I don't think that she was open to listening or changing maybe her mind. It was more like, this is my point and that's it. Like, so I felt like there was tension, and maybe it was a bit difficult for us to kind of manage and like steer the conversation. But the guest speaker that we had was actually really good at like engaging, and so she was good at managing it. But yeah, if we had maybe someone else, it could have maybe turned a different.
And in general, the people we get are the people who like know what's gonna go down, so they're ready, they're prepared. So they're not gonna come and, you know, they'll want to meet like-minded people basically at the end of the day. So everyone's kind of more or less the same. But interesting things happen in the sessions. Like for example, once we got an Emirati woman who is just there to observe, for example. And then later we find out that she just wanted to listen, and then she wants to try and practice opening up in her own life, but she didn't necessarily want to be in the conversation.
Well, that's actually really good, because it's nice sometimes, maybe the first session, to have a look and step back and feel, and then you might say, oh, I want to do that.
You'll be inspired.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
I was going to say, like what, you know, we point out before, it's like, we have a lot of people that start the session, they're like, we don't want to talk, you know? And we're like, that's totally okay. And then towards the end of the group discussion, you see them like taking the mic and trying
That's my favorite thing. And then coming back. Just recently, there was someone who came, not the last session, the session before, and she is literally shaking. She's like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. I took her to the side. I'm like, it's okay. Like all these people are here to speak. There's nothing you can say that's wrong. You can do this. And she was like, okay, like she was gonna cry, and she went into the session. She enjoyed it. I saw her just like kind of grow throughout the 3 hours, and then next thing you know, and this was in Dubai, that session. Next thing you know, she drives down to Abu Dhabi for the next one.
Oh wow!
And she comes in like, hello, like I was like, is this the same person? I didn't even recognize her. So these kind of moments are like our favorites.
Yeah, that's amazing, because actually it's I don't know if it's a human thing, and Alex has been pushing me a lot to do like emceeing or stand up on stage. It's one of those things I think that we humans have. Well,
really?
Another conversation. But like it's like that moment that she felt. She felt that so nervous because she had never maybe done it before. And you're talking about, there wasn't even on the stage or anything. It was just between people.
Exactly.
Right?
Like
group
50
discussion.
people.
Yeah, and it's this hump that you get over, and you're like, oh, that wasn't hard, and then the next one.
Yeah.
So I think you guys emphasize that, but you should emphasize it more, because a lot of your sessions are focused on the speaking, right? Which is a very important thing, but also listening. So there should be a balance between the two.
True, and also there's always this struggle between like introverts and extroverts, right? Because extroverts, you think, you know, they're the ones who are going to come and speak and enjoy these kinds of things. Some do come, but this is mostly for introverts, because they are the ones who feel like they just think about these things in their own mind. They don't really have an outlet. So when they come, it's like, these are my people, you know?
Nice.
So,
There. I mean, back to like also, so sometimes managing that dynamic, because they start first in a mini group, and then like they have, you know, groups of like 5-6 people, and sort of like informal, obviously. Sometimes what we find is like within those smaller groups, like the extroverts will maybe like dominate some of the conversations. And so we started introducing the concept of like facilitators, like, and table moderators within the mini groups, to be able just to like make sure that people that don't have always a chance to speak have that space to do so. And so that's kind of something that we're working on like improving that experience, so that everyone gets a chance to speak if they wish to speak.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
It's really good, because that introvert versus extrovert thing is it's very difficult for people to kind of open up, and extroverts just kind of take over those things.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever
Extroverts.
discussed the personality colors? I don't want to get into that much, but
Actually,
but
we
maybe
haven't. That's a good one.
But we did do one
because that's
on,
what it's about.
Yeah.
Introverts and extroverts. It's
Yeah.
about personality colors, and that's sometimes when
I think that would
somebody
be a good one.
knows
Yeah, that would
what
be a good
color
one.
they are. I know we're getting too philosophical about these things, but it actually helps. It actually helps if you know that you start to identify other people in different colors, and then you know why they act this way. Or I mean,
Oh, and yes,
a lot of
I've
it
heard
is a
about
bit
this. I've heard about
gimmicky,
this.
and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but,
That would actually be a really
but
good
you
one.
should probably try that.
Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
Because if it's just people are not only introverts and extroverts.
Exactly. I was just
They're
gonna
a
say.
mix of both and some other stuff, and it's good to be. Did this workshop the other day. And said,
Aware,
it's like ambivert. You should be both.
Ah.
You should kind of be both. Maybe you're an introvert sometimes with yourself, and when you're in one of these sessions, it's good to be an extrovert. So you can speak. You know, you
Yeah.
inspire others maybe. So you should probably look at
Yeah.
that.
Thanks for that
Yeah, thanks
suggestion.
for-
That's
stay
a good
tuned.
one.
Okay, can we do the end small talk
Sure.
session now? Can we?
Okay.
I mean, let's just do it like 5 minutes. I want like
Okay.
a mini one. You guys pick a topic, and I want to see how it goes. I didn't ask how you guys set it up and stuff, so I'm gonna be one of the shows on you now.
Okay.
I'm done. So you know, like how does it go about, or pick a topic and we can discuss.
Is there a topic that you'd like us to explore?
Well,
Is there anything specific that curious?
Give us
or-
one
Because we have
word.
Yeah,
One word?
One word.
We'll create
okay,
a
that makes
topic.
my life easier because I actually had the one word, but I didn't
you
have
did?
the
No
I didn't
way,
have I didn't have the long
The sentence.
the long
Yeah.
sentence. So I had
Okay.
the one word, and I was like, okay, because there's two females against one male. Fine, let's talk about relationships. Why not?
Ooh, interesting.
Okay.
Cool. Relationships. All right.
Typical.
So,
No, it's a very complex
Oh, yeah.
subject
Yeah,
that
I know. It's
we'll
complex.
never end in discussing. We
Do
did
you
a
wanna-
topic on that.
we did actually one on love, and then it turned into kind of like was more on self-love. And so we talked about like, is it that you're able to find your true, like most compatible soulmate when you first, be able to like love yourself? Is that the first step in order to find that soulmate? And so, I mean, we can.
I
dive
agree
into
with that.
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that because I think that a lot of people go through life. Maybe they start off not obviously everybody starts off not knowing what they want, and then they date or they be in relationships with people, and then they make mistakes. That person makes mistakes, and everybody's going through all these mistakes and whatever, and they're like, I don't like that, I don't like that, I like that, but I don't like that. They just do all that stuff, and they're going through that because they actually never had the list prior of the things they like and the things they don't like. And I think they need to look at this list first and say, okay, these are the things I like. Let me try to look for that. And I like to do these things. I'm happy with myself now. Then I can be in a
Exactly. Who
relationship,
can be that
right?
person that
Exactly.
joins me in that, basically?
So I
Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
And I would say just further on to that, like I feel like every relationship is a teaching opportunity. Even the bad relationships would just teach you what you don't want. Maybe like you want to be treated in a certain way and the partner that you had before wasn't treating you that way. So, okay, now I know what I do want. And you move a little bit closer towards, what you do want. But you have to be able to like see that as the teaching rather than getting caught up in the drama or the trauma of it, of like a bad breakup or something. And so,
But also there's this topic that I think Lynn and I love discussing, the fish and is it the attachment versus love?
oh yeah, fish love.
Fish love.
Fish love.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain?
So, do you want to explain?
Go ahead, please.
So fish love, it's like what we're loving now is like we're loving out of attachment rather than out of pure love. Loving out of attachment is like I need you in order for me to like be fulfilled. Like there's this gap in myself and I need you to fill that. This is like an attachment kind of love, when you feel like you need this person. Whereas like a true kind of love, I don't know what's the opposite of a fish love, but I don't think he was specified, but
Dolphin.
Okay.
inside jokes. And then it's like loving out of like a pure love of like you could see it as like an unconditional type of love where it's like I love you and I want you to be your best self in order for you to grow, and if it feels like that's the type of journey that you want to go to, I will still love you, even if that doesn't mean that you're together. And so it's like when you love kind of from that pure sense of non-expectation or non-attachment, there is this like beautiful synergy that can exist where two people can move through life together and not necessarily need each other to like complete each other. It's like you're still moving, you're still growing and evolving, but then sometimes like, yeah, you might fall back, and sometimes that person is just to remind you of like yourself and help you, just support kind of to bring you back up. But it's not a reliance on that person to bring you back up. You know?
And the problem with that though is like, you know, not everyone can be like, all right, I'm going to love myself then, and then I will go seek the person I love. No, because you're always at different stages in your life, and I'm always for experience and not holding yourself back. Like you are going to make mistakes. You are going to be in this kind of relationship where you feel attached, and it's only doing all these things that will lead you to the right kind of relationship that you should be in. Because a lot of people, like, it's not spoken about. It's not like there's no manual or anything, but you have to be aware. You have to be able to sit with yourself and say, like, is this healthy? Is this toxic? Is this person benefiting from my presence or not? Am I benefiting from their presence? Like, is it just because I need someone in my life? Like, there are so many different ways to look at it, but it's always important in anything you do in life to not just do it for the sake of living, but every moment just sit and say, okay, like reflect, like, am I doing, even if it's great, like, can it be better? Am I doing this right? What's next? You know, all of these things. So it comes down to self-reflection, self-love for sure.
Is it the comparison between having a pet and, no, because when you say fish love, is it like when you get a goldfish and that you love that because it's making you happy,
and it's in that cage?
Yeah,
exactly.
Is that the reference?
Not cage, but
I mean, it's, yeah, I guess it could be fishbowl. Yeah, like it's very like fleeting, and maybe the fish don't last very long. So it's like, so it's like that's probably like the temporal nature of it is that it keeps moving, and like, you know, sometimes it's like you're with a partner, and then it's like, oh, but they're like not filling this void anymore for me. I'm gonna go look for someone else. So it's like you were expecting that partner to fill that void. Then when you're like, that's closed, and be like, okay, I'm done with this one.
But it's not just that. It's like giving the other person way too much expectation. Like that person should not have to. Their role is not to make you happy. Like that's the worst thing you can ask for someone. Like, I'm with you because I'm with you because I want you to make me happy.
Yeah, okay, I get it like that. Yeah.
I mean, that's huge, you know, that's so much pressure, that's so much expectation. And that person isn't always going to be happy.
True.
And that person's going to go through things that you have to deal with as well. And what's going to happen then? If they're stop making you happy, are you going to leave? No, you shouldn't be in it in the first place.
True. Like, no one's going to come and save you, you know, like really. And people can, of course, I don't believe in like flying solo through this life. Like, I do feel like we're social beings. We need to be in like, you know, communities and like, you know, with partners and like family, and like these things are very important. So like to adopt the principle of like, no, I'm not going to make sure that everyone, like, it's my happiness or like, or bust, you know. But it's like we do kind of have to look a little bit selfishly about what our desires are, like for our own growth and our own development. And if it so happens that a partner comes in that meets those like same kind of principles and is also committed on that path, then we can grow together rather than like rely on each other to grow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that actually sums it up quite nicely, actually. That's because there's it's like, I don't know, it's a very difficult topic.
It can go on forever as well.
It's very difficult
because then there's like resentment as well, which is a huge thing. And then there's mental health within the relationship. Like it's a lot on two people to feel like, you know, they should be happy.
I think put expectations on each other.
Exactly.
It's like, so now it's like, you know, people expect like a partner to be so many things. It's like your best friend and your, you know, person that you do fun stuff with, and you have passionate relationship, and you do this and, you know. So it's like all these expectations for one person, like that's too much pressure for that person. That's why it's like, it's important to have other, you know, people to draw upon to like have different experiences. Like you can't expect, like you shouldn't make your partner also your best friend, you know? Like I think it's...
Many people would disagree.
I disagree.
I don't know, like I have done that before.
Don't get me wrong, like I like I would like to have that person, let's say, be also my best friend, but I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying, and I agree.
Like, do
In
you
terms
still
of the
have-
pressure.
But do you still
Yeah.
have your own group of people?
Yes. Is it your only friend? That's
Is it your
the
only
thing.
friend,
Yeah.
or like your best friend? But also like, okay, yeah, certain people maybe like you can't share. Maybe you can share everything, but like you don't need to share every
Yeah,
single thing
not
about
everything.
your life with that one person. You know, it's okay to have. You need to have a separate like
Yes, that's
journey.
number one.
You know, like everyone has their different
An
hobbies,
outlet.
interests, and outlets and stuff, and it's not like a partner has to be involved in every single thing that you do. You know, if it is, I think that's where it starts to be a bit like resentful. Resentment can build if like maybe you're stopping that person from doing what they need to do. You know, even if it's out of their own choice, but you know, no, they need
Yeah.
to find their own outlet in order for them to grow within whatever, you know, they want to make a mark in this world for.
Nice. I like it. Very good. You guys have a topic you want to discuss before I go to the last question?
Let's see. What's
Ooh.
like the most interesting one we spoke about?
We've taken, I think we
Red
have-
pill, blue
yes, exactly.
Oh, a
So-
Matrix reference.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So do you
here
know
we
it
go.
already?
Well,
Okay.
okay, go ahead. No,
Do you
go
know?
ahead. Well, I don't know. I know the red pill,
Do you
blue
know the
pill. Do you
answer?
know? Do you know? Will you take the red pill or blue pill, Neo?
So it was, I don't remember which pill it was, yeah, but it's like one of them is like, would you rather, if you could take a pill and live in like La La Land and like knowing
I'll take the other
everything
one.
dramatic about the world, or like knowing that there is this like underlying systems that, you know, maybe are not out for like the Matrix, let's say, like
Yeah.
which I don't know if I phrased it, I probably like messed that up completely.
Basically, ignorance is a bliss.
Yes.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't go with
You
that
wouldn't.
pill.
But
So you
but seeing suffering, feeling suffering, and knowing about it daily, versus, you know, just having this illusion, basically.
I would rather know that I'm stupid rather than live life knowing that I'm not stupid. Let's put it that way. Or
Okay.
stupid or suffering or whatever.
Okay.
I'd rather know these things and be self-aware
Okay.
of all these issues rather than just live life and
Yeah, but
And
you
not
wouldn't
know.
know that you chose that. Like, you wouldn't know the other side of things.
If
I wouldn't know that there's La La Land, you mean?
No, like if you were in La La Land, you would never. No, yeah, you wouldn't have the choice. Like, you wouldn't know you were given a blue
Yeah,
pill
I
and
get
a red
it.
pill.
I get it.
So
That was kind of like the whole point of that movie, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah,
was that there was
exactly.
this self-awakening, this awareness that there is a choice.
yes.
There-
exactly,
there is a choice.
There's a
And
choice, but also true happiness doesn't
Yeah.
exist. You know, and you're never gonna feel right or human if everything is perfect and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong. You need that. Like, you need to feel things, and the only way is to choose the
So
pill
that's the one that you would choose, though, right? The
Yeah, I
one
mean,
that's like
I would want to be. I want to
In the
choose the no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
were-
want to live.
It was so divided. Like, it was half, I
Right.
think, at that session, and like even to
Oh,
the
wow.
parking lot, blue pill, red pill, like
Oh, nice.
shouting it
Yeah.
out.
That's good. The reason I say that is because, and when I say like my answer, okay, I'm not saying I'm choosing suffering. What I'm saying is I would choose to be aware.
aware of the suffering.
I want to be aware of things around me, and if I'm even now, like now in normal life, if I'm doing something wrong or I'm watching a movie that made a bad reference, or there's like this place and I'm just walking through it blissfully, and I don't know that maybe something really bad happened here, or there's a different kind of side to it.
Yeah.
I like to know. I mean, it's part of me. Like, I like to learn things as well, so it's
Yeah.
different than maybe just living ignorantly. So I'd rather know.
And I think just to add on to that, because I think we both agree with that. You know, I feel like that's life. You know, like I think there's a reason why. Like, if you were to imagine blissful happiness from now until eternity, where everything that you've ever wanted, everything is perfect all the time, like 24/7 for the rest of eternity, that'd be a bit boring, wouldn't it? Like, wouldn't it like feel a bit like, oh my God, everything is so happy and amazing and this and everything I want all the time. Like,
Again,
I think,
many people would disagree.
you think so?
Yeah.
Like for eternity though? Like,
People you're just saying in the session you had people who were like,
yeah, they wanted happiness.
I want happiness.
They
I don't want to know.
They didn't want to know anything.
But at the same time, though, like then if people were to maybe reflect on, you know, their own lives, and maybe like you go through traumatic incidences and you go through things that really shape you, and like to know, that's also like a follow-up kind of question. It's like, do you need to know ultimate like sadness or like suffering in order for really to really appreciate happiness?
Yes,
you do. But you know,
I tell you why though. Okay, go ahead.
Interesting about your answer is the fact that he said, I like to learn things. And I feel like a lot of those people answer the same, like the ones who are very curious and just always like seeking knowledge, because they feel like, you know, on the other side of things, you're kind of aimlessly walking through life and you're not learning anything at all. So
that's like,
I think that's
like go ahead. You were gonna say.
I was gonna say, I mean, like the greatest inventions or greatest creations in our world as humans have came from either ultimate sacrifices or ultimate sadness, or people have been in the worst places and they've made the greatest things. And what kind of bothers me about that is there's many people who don't know that. They don't know that the fact that you have electricity, or the fact that you have pasteurized milk, or you have the fact that you have certain things in life or only here because there's ultimate sacrifice or ultimate sadness. So to answer that question, I say yes, sometimes, and we had it on the show even, people were in the worst place ever, and from there they created something really amazing, because you appreciate it more, but also the effort. I mean, it's human nature to be at the bottom of that hill and then just make it to the top. It's much more fulfilling and rewarding, and that's how I'd answer that question.
And I agree with you. The only thing I would follow up with is to say that it's not to say that you need to go through a traumatic instance in order for it to come, because even being in like your most depressed state, or like kind of in your lowest points within yourself, through that comes like, you know, realizations that couldn't have erupted if you were ultimately like living in this bliss land. So it's like to feel that depth, and like this is from my own personal experience, to be able to feel that depth, I knew what like darkness looked like, and so it made me more set to like, and I knew what the light looked like at one point, and then I knew that like there was a process to get there, and I think having that experience has made me feel like, okay, I'm able to like move more towards like those things that feel lighter about myself, you know, with that awareness of my past, you know. So I agree with you, but you don't have to advocate for like go and, you know,
and suffer.
Go exactly. Go suffer in pain
every day,
and then you will learn happiness.
I get it.
You will create something beautiful.
Yes.
The last question, guys. Do you have a question for me?
Ooh, is that a spin-off? Is that the last question?
We always have it. We always have just a question, like for me, in case you guys have. We usually cut this part out.
How are you with conversations in your life? Like, what kind of person are you out there?
People always ask me difficult questions, man. People always love to ask me difficult questions. How am I with conversations?
Yeah.
There's a lot of small talk.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. I mean, I don't want to say. No, wait. I don't want to say it's like 90% small talk or something. But I do have it, and I agree with you when you said before in the show. You were saying that it's a safe space. So there's a lot of a small talk, and sometimes it happens with anyone. It's not just with friends or acquaintances. It happens even with family. Sometimes maybe more than the friends. And overall, I think in conversations, again, it maybe comes back to one of the reasons why maybe me and Alex actually did this show, is to have, that's how I started it. You guys said movement towards better conversations. It's one of the reasons why we wanted to do the show.
Wow.
Is to have a chance to actually have these conversations, and people might learn something, they might laugh, it might make their day feel better. So how am I with conversations? I'm putting them at the forefront of my life. I'm putting the people and the conversations at the forefront of whatever it is that we do. So wherever you are in the world, if you're on a plane, if you're driving, if you're sitting on the beach, you can listen to a nice conversation, and maybe that show might make you want to have a nice conversation with someone else.
Exactly. No, that's what I felt about this show too when you first introduced it to me. So I was like, then why does he always do small talk?
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
just kidding,
That's
I'm
the
just
first
kidding.
answer. Yeah.
No, but people find their own way. Like you're not ever going to be super comfortable with everyone around you, and it takes a lot. But some people, like they'll do it at school with their teachers, for example. They're more comfortable with their teachers. They'll write basically and have that conversation with themselves. But whatever it is, like everyone should find some sort of outlet to release these kinds of things. It's just making yourself feel more comfortable and the people you're interviewing feel really comfortable and open, and it's amazing.
And I think like there's one thing, like it's kind of hard to like you meet someone fresh, you know, in a random place, and then what are your deepest fears and insecurities? It's like, whoa, like
Me and Alex have these conversations always.
Daily.
Maybe you
Hey
and
man,
Alex,
what do you do? We're doing a show today. What's your deepest fear, by the way? Just before we do the show.
And that's the thing, like I mean, you and Alex have a relationship, like you know each other and things like that. But if it's a stranger or someone new, it's like you don't jump in maybe like in a practical sense.
Yes,
Small
we
talk
would
is
like to set the
entryway.
record straight. Yes.
Small talk is the entryway in order to like first engage with someone, like in a practical sense. Like
you
we know
still
what-
need it. Yeah.
like in our group, in our little like group that meets every month or so, like we set the standard almost, or like set the, what is it called?
Baseline?
Baseline. Thank you. The baseline of like what's expected. So we already say, okay, no like small talk. We have hashtags instead of names, and then you just jump straight into the conversation until we have the question prompts and stuff. So it's like in that space, it's like safe to explore. But in the real world or in the practical sense, like you can't just like go to every single person and say, jump in with like a deep question. It just
Yeah, and I've had people like I'll ask them and they'll be like, no.
it's like I don't know you.
Well, I think that's the first
Like,
thing
as
they
in-
ask you. They ask you like,
No, if I ask them something deep and I like it, I feel like, oh, everyone loves that, and they will open up to me. But I have gotten like, I don't think
the brick wall.
we'll do that.
You got the brick wall
Exactly.
or the door.
Yeah.
You got the
But
door.
at least try.
At least, I mean, it's just like it can be. That's why we have the combo cards, which we didn't bring them on the show. But these are like little prompts for if you get stuck with, awkward situations or something in a group setting. Pull out a card and you'll see, like we've had people who take their cards everywhere they go, so it's just and
nice.
we were,
So they're not show specific. They're not session specific.
no, they're like cards, they're like small business card type of size, and they basically
About 20 questions. Basically.
on each side, and then you
Like
carry
we had,
around.
for example, someone had them in their wallet and they got a ride from Abu Dhabi to Dubai with someone they didn't know. And they were like, you saved my life, because I had no idea what I was going to discuss. So I pulled it out, and it was like the best car ride I've had.
Amazing.
So.
Yeah,
It should have been recorded actually and made into a podcast.
Oh,
next idea. We'll partner with Kareem.
Kareem, I thought you were gonna say nobody's famous, then you said Kareem.
yeah,
I'm like,
I
what are you
also-
doing?
Do you
I'm
have
joking.
cards?
I'm joking.
Car service?
We have 2 cars.
let's do it.
2 in the fleet. We have 2. We're small, but we are getting big. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes.
Same here.
It's been really fun.
It has.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad that you guys came on the shows. Any last words you guys want to say?
I mean, I already feel like we know you so much more
Oh
from
my
this
God.
small
Just 1 hour.
conversation.
And small talk plus podcast
Oh my
plus
gosh.
I
It's a
don't know.
mix.
This is amazing. Yes.
Yeah, this is
It's
great.
been an absolute pleasure, guys.
Awesome.
It was great to have you on the show. I'm gonna sign off now, Alex, if you don't mind, and feel free to sign off with me.
Okay.
This is the Nobody's Famous podcast. I was with Farah, Bushnaq, Lyne, Ismail, and Small Talk. Check them out, please. You can find us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Anghami, Spotify, and YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube. Please don't watch us while driving. You can listen to us. Anything else, guys, you want to say?
That's it. Hopefully this inspired you to have more deeper conversations, and thank you for having us.
And you can follow us on and Small
Yeah, we
Talk.
forgot the plug.
The plug.
And Small Talk. Same for Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, or reach out to us and smalltalk@gmail.com. I know we're Gmail. It's weird, but
Great. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ali.
thank you for having us.